So definitely with having this opportunity, like I mentioned, I was about to give up and I prayed and I was like, God, you know my heart's desire. I just want to go and experience how it feels like to compete internationally. And I was like, but I'm leaving this in your hands. And just like a few months after that, I was asked to actually go and represent South Africa internationally at Miss Aesthetic International. So I was like, okay, then this is God. And I just was like thanking him for this, and then everything just fell in place. Like I can't tell you how, from outfits to literally everything fell in place. I had 3 months to prepare for international. So that's
so
very little.
To be honest with you.
It is. But he just opened all the doors, and I thank him every day for this title, because I know it's not my glory, but his.
Yeah, true. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another exciting episode. Today's episode, we're joined by one of the most amazing, pageant queen and title holder as well. Sherlain, Miss Aesthetic, reigning queen. How are you doing?
I'm doing really great, thank you. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm very excited to tell people a little bit more about the pageant world.
Right. Exciting news. Congratulations also for winning the title as well.
Thank you.
How are you feeling about the title?
So I'm very honored to actually wear this title. It's huge. It's not just a small title, it's an international title. But I'm very happy to wear this, because I know I didn't only wear South Africa across my chest, but now I wear Miss Aesthetic International across my chest. So I'm very excited about this year ahead. I know it's almost over, but we have to use what we have.
True. That's so amazing, How was that feeling, traveling, overseas and getting the feel of international pageant?
It was my very first time actually, competing internationally. I've just been competing. Yes.
That's so nice.
I've just been competing here at national pageants, and before I went international, I was about to hang up my pageant shoes.
Okay.
So I felt I had so much disappointments throughout my pageant journey, but then when this pageant opportunity came my way, I was like, let me use this opportunity and enjoy every moment and make the best out of it and give my best. So I went internationally, flew overseas, first time going overseas as well. So it was a new journey in every single way. But I just thought to myself, you know what, hard work pays off, and let's give our best and see what the outcome may be.
Right. What are some of the highlights that you look back and you say, oh my goodness, God did?
So definitely with having this opportunity, like I mentioned, I was about to give up and I prayed and I was like, God, you know my heart's desire. I just want to go and experience how it feels like to compete internationally. And I was like, but I'm leaving this in your hands. And just like a few months after that, I was asked to actually go and represent South Africa internationally at Miss Aesthetic International. So I was like, okay, then this is God. And I just was like thanking him for this, and then everything just fell in place. Like I can't tell you how, from outfits to literally everything fell in place. I had 3 months to prepare for international. So that's very little.
To be honest with you.
It is. But he just opened all the doors, and I thank him every day for this title, because I know it's not my glory, but his.
Yeah, true. Now the fact that you're honoring God and you're honoring God and not honoring your craft. That's so amazing, What are some of the things that you have learned in the pageantry journey, before entering before winning the title Miss Aesthetic, right? What are some of the things that you've learned in the pageant industry?
So what I've learned is that every disappointment is a stepping stone to success. No matter how many times you fail in a pageant, look at how you can improve. Look at the places that you maybe failed at and work on those things, because we all have time to grow, we all have space to grow. We're never going to be perfect. No matter how many times you practice, constantly work on becoming an all-rounder, not just like, oh okay, I'm going to win because I'm walking good, but work on everything, and then most importantly be yourself. And I know people say that a lot, but you don't know how to be yourself. And what I mean with being yourself is just enjoy every moment, give your best, and know that you are fully giving your best. So that's something that I've carried throughout. And also, like, if you don't get it now, it doesn't mean it's not for you, it just means it's not your season. So the more you try, the more you work hard, the time you put in, eventually you will get to the place you worked for. So
That's so amazing. Like, how do you stay motivated? You know, you mentioned, you know, giving up, you know, at some point, you know, in the pageant space. Like, how do you stay motivated?
So the way I stay motivated is through prayer. So everything happens with my relationship with God.
So you saved?
Yes, definitely.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes, so everything I start out with prayer, and I don't do anything unless I've prayed about it, because I think if you have to do it with your own power or your own will, it's going to be difficult, because every disappointment you're going to think, I'm not good enough. But once you've prayed about it and you don't get it, your mindset shifts and it changed to, this was not his will. So it might have been my will, but not his, because he closes doors that aren't supposed to be open. So I think that is how I stay motivated, is to know if something happens, it's for a reason and a purpose. It's not to break me, but to build me.
That's so amazing. What's that one scripture that resonates with you?
So I usually have Psalms 91. So whoever dwells through the secret place. So I usually carry that one, and there's quite a lot. But I think it's just also having that personal relationship with God that actually helps you to carry through, because you can pray every single time, every single day, no matter where you are, you can speak to him.
That's amazing. You know, I'm so glad that, you know, the fact that we can both resonate with the conversation of whoever dwells in the secret place, you know. Right. Let's talk about, you know, the title holder. You know, you as a title holder, you know, Mrs. Statics. What some of the values do they stand for?
So Mrs. Aesthetic is beauty from within. So they are into aesthetic medicines and anti-aging. So that is what Mrs. Aesthetic is about. It's also about your wellness. So if you're advocating for wellness, so looking after your body, looking after your skin, staying healthy, that is who they are. To show that, you know what, once you look after yourself, you can have, you know, a great life ahead of you.
True.
Yes, so it's all about health.
Okay, that's so nice and amazing. You know, what sparked your passion in empowering young women, and how does Rise and Resilient drive the mission?
So Rise Resilient is about entrepreneurial skills. So when I was a little girl, we've always been brought up in a entrepreneurial household. So I've seen, you know, that struggle of not having, and seen the struggle, you know, and the achievements that you get from working hard and never giving up. So that's where my mindset has been built, is through my childhood, you know, being raised in that type of way. And just growing up and realizing that myself. So I also have my own business, and I've experienced those things myself, and I then saw how it can apply to your daily life. You know, like I mentioned about people, when you fail, you want to give up, you don't feel worthy. But when you have that mindset of, you know what, every failure is a stepping stone to success, then you'll be able to overcome things. And that's what Rise Resilient is about, is to rise out of your circumstances, not to let it break you, not to let it decide, okay, this is who you are now because of your failure, but to use those and use your story to help others. So that also goes a long way with your wellness, your mental health, everything in that aspect. So Rise Resilient doesn't just work on entrepreneurial, but more the entrepreneurial mindset of never giving up. So that's the way I encourage others, and especially women, to never give up. Because I think with women, we always feel like we're not good enough, but once we know that we are good enough and we're not defined by our failures, that's when we start growing and stepping into our power.
That's so powerful and profound, hey. So what are some of the things that, how do you balance, you know, being a title holder and being an entrepreneur as well?
So it all starts by time management.
Okay, sounds so simple, but okay.
It really does. But you know, a lot of people, when they see me, then I'm always busy with something, and they say, how do I manage all of these things? And I'm like, by time management. Because once you actually have time management and you set a schedule for yourself, then you actually being able to balance all of those things. Because it is difficult sometimes. If you're going to take everything at one stage, you're going to struggle. You're not going to be able to keep your word. And something that I also stand by that helps me with balancing the things is don't say yes if you're not going to make it. Rather say yes and keep your word. Because unless there's something that pops up and you really can't, but keep your word and stick to that, because someone else is willing to give up that time for you. So also keep to your word. And that's how you get to balance everything.
Yeah, no, it's so true, Tell me more about your business. What do you do? And
I have a modeling school, so I'm a coach. So I coach models. I only do one-on-one classes with the models because I want to get to their full potential. So I don't call myself a modeling school because there's so many out there and they all do great things. But what I do basically is, like I mentioned, work one-on-one with all the models, and I see where do they need help. Where do they need to actually improve, and how can we make them grow? And we also look at different competitions that's suitable for them, and also helping them with that mental mindset, because like I mentioned, when you fail, it's really, really sad and it's difficult. So you need that coach to just like push you a little bit to say it's okay, don't worry, you don't have to win always.
Yes. So what advice do you have for some people that don't find the value of having a coach? I want to watch YouTube videos, I want to watch TikTok videos, and I'm gonna get some classes there. What advice do you have for some people like that?
So I was one of those people. I was that type of person that said, when I done my first competition, I said, I'm not gonna get a coach. Like, I can watch on YouTube. I can ask ChatGPT to train me.
So true.
So I was one of those people, but then I didn't get placement, and I was sad, and I was like, so what's wrong with me? But the thing is, you need a coach. You need someone that can tell you, because we can't judge ourselves. Okay, when we do look in the mirror, we are our biggest critique. But when it comes to training ourselves, we always think that we're perfect. We think, okay, I'm good, I can speak well, but you need someone that can be honest with you and be like, that was not a good answer. Like, rather structure it in this way. So that's why you need a coach. Same with walking. You need someone that can look at your routine and be like, maybe change this or do this, because they can see how it would look different, and more powerful. So it's not the fact that you're unable, but it's just to have someone else's opinion and someone that is honest. Because your mom or your dad or your brother won't necessarily be so honest with you as what a coach would be. So it's important
to protect your feelings all at the same time.
So rather invest in that. You still can train on yourself, but invest in having someone that can give you that honest opinion as well.
That is so nice. How do you prioritize your own well-being and the demands of pageant and entrepreneurship?
So I prioritize, so first, like I mentioned earlier, is with prayer, but I also make sure that I get my workouts in. So I go to the gym. I also make sure that even though I have such a busy schedule and a busy life, I make sure that there's time for myself as well. Whether it's at night, just laying on the couch and watching a series. You have to make sure that there's time for yourself, because when you're so caught up in being so busy, at some stage when you're quiet, it might affect you even worse, because now it feels like you're just doing nothing. But when you balance that, like having some free time, having a time where you're just doing nothing, that's okay, and that helps you, because at a later stage when you're not as busy, your wellness won't take a dip, because you've trained yourself to relax.
So true. It's like you're low-key, like I feel like you give me an advice, because sometimes I used to prioritize being busy, and then when I am free, it feels so good.
It does. It really does. Yes.
So what are some of the advice? What's that one advice that changed the way you look at pageantry?
The one thing I would say, so a lot of people have their own opinions about pageantry, but I would say it's definitely Miss Aesthetic International that changed my viewpoint. Because with Miss Aesthetic International, they like literally looked at every single part of your journey. So it wasn't just a one-day thing. We were there for an entire week. And I would suggest, rather and I would suggest, to pageant directors, rather have the girls there a longer time instead of just having one day pageant. because now if you get to meet them at a longer stage, you can see how they interact, how they really are. Because when you arrive as, oh, I'm this person, I'm friendly with everyone.
And then you can keep it.
But once it starts coming to the late nights, the long hours, that's when you start seeing the real person. And you start seeing who they really are, because now they're tired, it's a long day.
Colors are slowly showing.
Yes, so that's definitely one thing that changed my mind about pageantry itself, was going internationally and experiencing that. Because, you know, a lot of times when you compete here, you're like, oh, all the pageants are the same. But when you go internationally, you see how things are done there. And you're like, oh, okay, it's so much different. So then I saw there is good in pageantry.
Right, no, that's so true, you know. Comparing to South African pageantry specifically, because you know you have experienced, you know, the SA pageantry, comparing to South African pageantry and overseas pageantry, what are some of the things that you look and there's a bit of a shift and difference? You know, what do you think that SA pageantry could imply? Oh wow. So comparing to SA pageantry, right, and overseas pageantry, because you had a few of both, right? What do you think is missing in the African pageantry space?
So it's that of getting to know the girls for who they really are, not just on social media. Because if you're having a pageant and you don't do constant workshops or constant gatherings with the girls, what happens is social media is like a fake type of, you know, thing. So people see this and they're always smiling and they're always friendly and they're always doing this. But when you get to meet that person in person, you get to know who they really are. So I think if South African pageantry can incorporate like a whole weekend pageant or an entire week pageant to actually get to know the girls and see who they truly are, then we'll start seeing who the diamonds are in the pageantry. Because you can't just have the best face and the best walk, but you need to get to know them. Like when we were internationally, we had the director that was constantly around us. So she wasn't just gone, she was there. She was constantly by the photo shoots, by the breakfast, dinner, lunch. She was constantly there and she could see who we really are. And she was also in the interviews. So when she spoke to us, there was no way that we could hide what we were saying or doing, because she was constantly watching us. So I think that is the important part. Because now with the interviews, what happens is now the director's not there and you can fake it. So yes, and also like speak to the directors, get to know the girls, because when you're in interview you trained, but when you speak without being in an interview, that's when you really get to know the person. So constant, like, you know, that undercover judging. They need undercover judging. Yes.
Okay. What are some of the things what are some of the challenges, you know, going overseas, competing overseas?
So I didn't honestly have any challenges, because like I said, God opened all the doors. But there was, you know, it was scary. There was a little bit of fear, because I was like, I don't know where I'm going or what I'm going to do. But what was nice is I got to meet Italy at our layover, so we could go both together to Indonesia. So we weren't just there all by myself. So I had someone that was with me the whole time. So it was only for that 8 hours that I had to fly alone. But the only thing is, when I came back, I had a shorter layover. So I had to meet everyone at the airport, because now it's a homecoming. But I was so sick afterwards because the flight was just too long. My back was really hurting and things like that. But further towards the international pageant, I didn't have any challenges. It was really, everything flowed like it was supposed to. So it was just your mental health that you had to constantly keep together. Yes.
Oh, that's so nice. How are you learning to represent the crown and protect the crown right now?
So every day is a journey. For me at this moment, I'm focusing on getting some exposure for the title, especially in South Africa. So internationally, it's much bigger than what it is here. So at this moment, I'm just trying to get some exposure for the brand itself in South Africa, because I feel like it's such a powerful pageant, and I would like to see a legacy built from it, and not just a one type of thing. So yes.
Maybe to someone who looks up to you, what advice do you have for them?
So the advice that I have for that person is to never give up. So constantly, chase after your dreams, work hard for what you want. Don't let anyone or anything define the way you see yourself, because you are the only person that knows who you truly are. And if you put in the work, someday, sometime, your time will come. So never, ever, ever give up.
Yeah, right. When you look back, in your life, growing up, raising in the family that you're in right now, what are some of the things that you have learned? You spoke about the entrepreneurship part of things, and what are some of the things that you have learned?
Something that I've learned is to never give up. So I was also bullied when I was younger. So it's not only growing up in an entrepreneurial household, but also being bullied. So that mindset of never giving up and it's okay not to be okay and just keep on working is something that's been with me throughout my journey, because it's so difficult when you're going through things and you don't know how to work that through in your mind. So once you start resetting your mindset and just renewing your mindset and saying that it's okay, I'm not going to give up, I'm going to try again. Maybe try something else if that doesn't work, but don't just give up the first time. Try and try and try and try until you get to that point. But listen to your heart, listen to what your heart is telling you, and you would know who you truly are.
That's so amazing. I think we have so far many guests that are slowly opening up about the bullying conversation. How do we get the bullying conversation out there, maybe to some kids that are actually dealing with bullying in school right now? Could be not necessarily in school, but could be at home. It can be anyway. Like how do we get the conversation out there?
So for bullying, it's such a sensitive topic because we never truly know what someone else is going through. And I think about the girls that used to bully me. If I get to speak to them now, I found out that they were going through something at home, and it was something that caused them to want to bully me because they had that sense of power. And I always, when I tell kids about bullying, a bully sees it as a game. So when they bully someone and they see they receive a reaction out of that, they constantly go for it. But when they see you're not reacting to it, they start losing at their own game, and then they give up on you and they try and find someone else. So we're always going to have bullies. No matter how many times we say stop bullying, there's always going to be bullies, because people are people. We all have our own likings and we all find something else funny, but once we don't show that, okay, that is not bothering me, then the bully is going to give up. It's like a game, a video game. If you're constantly losing the video game, you're going to stop playing.
So you're
going to take a break and you're going to be like, no. So just even, yes, it does affect you. I'm not saying it's never going to affect you. If someone says, oh, look at your shoes or look at your hair, it's going to affect you. But that's why you need to find your identity. You need to find who you truly are, because no matter what someone says to you, it might affect you, but it's not going to change who you are, because you know your identity. So that is something important, but don't show a bully that it's affecting you. Otherwise, they're going to constantly come for you.
You're motivating.
Exactly. You're fueling that fire.
That's so that's so great. Thank you so much for coming on the pod, and also creating this safe space, creating this open conversation, talking about your bullying and also enjoying the rain as well. Advice do you have for someone that might consider representing South Africa on a much bigger level? What advice do you have for them, also for the pageantry as well?
Okay, so I'm going to start by your first part. Someone that's considering pageantry, if you have something you're passionate about, like an advocacy, definitely go into pageantry, because it just opens up so much doors. I know maybe you've heard that saying of there's power in the sash. You've probably heard that.
I've seen it actually.
But it's really, really true, because it just gives you that platform. I might be jumping now, but I remember going to an event and I had my crown and sash on, and this little girl saw that and she started running towards me to just give me a hug, because she was like, hi, how are you? And that's what I'm getting back to, is if you have something that you're passionate about and you have an advocacy, or there's something you want to raise awareness about, this crown and the title will give you that opportunity to do so. But it also depends on how far you want to take it, because nobody's gonna feed you with a spoon. Once you have that title, you need to go out and actually make it work. You need to go out and raise awareness about that topic, whether it be on social media or getting in touch with media partners. You have to go out and do that. And then for someone competing internationally is, represent your country, not yourself. Because you're not carrying your own name across your chest. You're carrying your country's name across the chest. So show up in every single part, whether that be breakfast, lunch, going to the bathroom. If they say dress casual, don't come in your slippers. You're still representing your country. Dress up. Make sure that you're always dressed up and looking neat, because that is the most important thing. And then also, enjoy, be friendly with everyone. Don't get involved in any drama or like if there's gossiping, don't get involved in that, but be friendly with every single person, because it's your country, it's not you.
Right. Oh, yes. That's so nice. Thank you so much for coming on the Safe Space. Maybe to someone who wants to collaborate with you and want to work with you, where can they find you?
So they can reach out to me on my Instagram. I know sometimes I might not always answer, but I would possibly get there. But if they want, especially maybe with the international organization, they're welcome to reach out to them. They would reach out to me as well. But if you want to get in touch with me personally, my Instagram, and that is Sherlain _holmes XX. Very simple.
Thank you so much for coming on the Safe Space. Wish you all the best with your reign, and I know we spoke about you going back to retain the crown.
Yes, my baby.
We wish you all the best with your reign, and also your journey, also with your entrepreneurship craft as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
See you on the next episode.